Welcome back to our channel. One dime might be the start of your next big financial move. In 1984, the U.S. Mint produced millions of one-dime coins, each stamped with the familiar image of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. On the surface, these dimes seem just like any other, part of the daily exchange of pocket change used for small purchases, vending machines, or saved in jars and piggy banks. But what many didn't realize in 1984 was that one of those dimes would eventually become a legend in the world of numismatics, with a value today that's nothing short of extraordinary. How could a simple 10-cent coin, a piece of everyday currency, turn into something worth $125,000? That's the remarkable tale of the 1984 USA one-dime coin, a coin that, in its unassuming form, would go on to captivate collectors, investors, and enthusiasts alike. To begin, let's put the 1984 dime into its historical context. The year 1984 was an interesting one in the United States, a year marked by political, social, and cultural change. President Ronald Reagan was in office, and the country was emerging from a period of economic stagnation and high inflation, entering a phase of economic growth. The 1980s were also the era of personal computers, with companies like Apple, IBM, and Microsoft beginning to shape the future of technology. Culturally, the world was seeing a new wave of pop culture trends, from the rise of music videos on MTV to the explosion of big-budget blockbuster movies like Indiana Jones and Ghostbusters. On the front of the coin, the dimes being minted in 1984 carried the familiar profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had been featured on the dime since 1946, a year after his death. Roosevelt's image, a symbol of his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, had become a permanent fixture on U.S. coinage. The reverse side of the dime showed a design that had also been in use since 1946, depicting a torch flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch. These elements represented liberty, peace, and strength, values that are deeply embedded in the identity of the United States. In many ways, the 1984 dime was typical of the times. It was struck from a copper-nickel blend, maintaining the size and weight of earlier dimes. Its production was in full swing, alongside millions of other coins being minted to meet the country's need for currency. The dimes of 1984, like many others that came before them, went into circulation with little fanfare and were destined to become a part of the everyday exchange of money. But as is often the case in the world of numismatics, some coins are destined for greatness, even if it takes decades for their significance to be realized. One of the unique aspects of the 1984 dime lies in its specific error. While the vast majority of these coins were produced without incident, a small portion of the 1984 dimes were minted with a rare and highly valuable mistake, an error that would turn this otherwise standard coin into a prized possession. The mistake was related to the die used to strike the coins, which became slightly misaligned during the production process. This misalignment led to what's known as a double die error. In short, the coin was struck more than once, with the second strike being slightly off-center. This caused the image of Roosevelt, as well as the text and design elements, to appear as if they were doubled or blurred. To the casual observer, the error might seem minor, but in the world of coin collecting, a double die error is a big deal. These types of errors are highly prized because they are both rare and unique. A double die error indicates that the coin was produced in an unexpected way, and the result is a coin that stands out from the thousands or millions of identical coins produced in the same year. The error on the 1984 dime was subtle but striking enough to catch the attention of collectors who specialized in identifying rare coins. As with most numismatic errors, the value of the 1984 double die dime didn't become immediately apparent. It wasn't until the coin started making its way through the hands of collectors and dealers that its significance began to emerge. The 1984 double die dimes were rare, and only a small number of these flawed coins made it into circulation. Most of them were unnoticed by the general public, likely spent without a second glance in everyday transactions. But for collectors, a coin like this represents an opportunity to own something exceptional, something that is out of the ordinary. The 1984 double die dime became something of a legend in the world of coin collecting, and as word spread about the rarity and value of these coins, their demand grew exponentially. Numismatists and collectors began to search for the elusive double die error dime, and as time passed, it became increasingly difficult to find one. These coins, once considered little more than pocket change, were now sought after by those who understood their true value, but what makes the 1984 double die dime so special? It's all about rarity, uniqueness, and the story behind the coin. In a world where most coins are struck with precision and consistency, a minting error like the double die error creates a coin that is unlike any other. Each 1984 double die dime is a small piece of history, a reminder of the mistakes that can sometimes lead to great discoveries. These errors, while initially unintentional, become treasures for collectors who appreciate the rarity and significance of such coins. As the years passed, the value of the 1984 double die dime continued to rise. The rarity of the coin combined with its growing popularity among collectors made it one of the most sought-after error coins in modern U.S. coinage. Auctions began to feature the 1984 double die dime, and prices soared as collectors competed for the chance to own one of these rare gems. What was once a 10-cent piece was now a coin worth thousands, then tens of thousands, and eventually hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, where does the 1984 double die dime stand today? After years of increasing demand and growing recognition of its rarity, the value of this coin has skyrocketed. A single 1984 double die dime is now worth an impressive $125,000. That's right, a dime, originally valued at just 10 cents, is now worth a staggering $125,000, making it one of the most valuable dimes in existence today. This incredible value reflects the rarity of the double die error and the increasing interest in error coins in general. As more collectors and investors recognize the significance of this coin, its value continues to climb. The 1984 double die dime serves as a powerful reminder of how a simple minting mistake can lead to the creation of a coin that holds immense historical and financial value. So, the next time you come across a dime, take a moment to inspect it carefully. Who knows? You might be holding onto a rare treasure worth far more than you ever imagined. The 1984 double die dime is proof that in the world of coin collecting, sometimes the most unexpected finds are the ones that hold the greatest value. Thank you for joining me on this incredible journey through the history of the 1984 double die dime. If you've ever discovered a rare coin or been lucky enough to stumble upon an error coin, I'd love to hear your stories in the comments below. You never know, your next great discovery might be right in your pocket. In 1990, a seemingly ordinary 10-cent piece was minted by the U.S. Mint. At first glance, the 1991 dime coin appeared to be just like any other dime that had been circulating in the United States for decades. The same familiar features were there: the image of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse. The design was classic, unchanging, and practical, serving as an everyday piece of currency used for small transactions, vending machines, or tossed into jars and piggy banks. But unbeknownst to many, within this humble dime lay the beginning of an intriguing story, a story that would transform this coin into one of the most sought-after and valuable dimes in American numismatics. To truly understand the significance of the 1991 dime coin, we must first take a step back and examine the history and context of dimes in general. The dime, a coin valued at 10 cents, has been a staple of American currency since the early years of the Republic. Over the years, the design of the dime has evolved, but one thing has remained constant: its role as a crucial part of everyday life. From the early seated Liberty dimes to the Barber dimes, Mercury dimes, and eventually, the Roosevelt dimes, each iteration of the dime has carried with it the pulse of American history. In 1946, shortly after the passing of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the U.S. Mint decided to honor him by placing his image on the dime. Roosevelt had led the nation through some of its darkest days during the Great Depression and World War II, and his leadership left an indelible mark on the country. Thus, his likeness was chosen for the dime, a tribute to his legacy of service to the nation. The reverse design of the Roosevelt dime, featuring a torch, olive branch, and oak branch, has remained unchanged since 1946. The torch symbolizes liberty, the olive branch represents peace, and the oak branch stands for strength. These symbolic elements were carefully chosen to convey the ideals of the United States and remain a defining feature of the coin to this day. By 1990, the design of the Roosevelt dime had become well established, with millions of these coins being produced each year. In fact, 1990 was just another year in the production of dimes, with the Mint striking millions of these coins in various locations, including the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. The year saw a wide circulation of dimes, yet, like most coins produced for regular circulation, the 1990 dime seemed to be nothing more than a piece of everyday currency. But that was about to change. The story of the 1990 dime's rise to fame begins with a seemingly small but critical detail: a rare minting error. Minting errors, in the world of coin collecting, are often what makes certain coins valuable and highly coveted. These errors can range from slight design misalignments to more noticeable flaws, and sometimes, they result in the creation of a coin that stands out from the millions of identical pieces produced during regular circulation. In the case of the 1991 dime, a specific error known as a double die error occurred. This particular type of error happens when a coin is struck multiple times, resulting in a doubling of the design elements. For the 1990 dimes, this error was subtle but still visible to the trained eye. The doubling effect affected certain aspects of the design, including the date and some of the lettering on the coin. The result was a rare variation of the standard 1990 dime, and it wasn't long before collectors began to notice the difference. As with most coin errors, it was the rarity of the 1990 double die dimes that made them so desirable. Unlike other coins that were mass-produced and widely circulated without incident, these error coins were produced in limited numbers, making them highly sought after by collectors who specialize in finding and preserving such unique specimens. In fact, the discovery of the 1990 double die dime led to a flurry of interest among collectors, with many seeking to acquire these rare coins and add them to their collections. The 1990 double die dimes quickly became the subject of heated competition among numismatists and coin collectors. Dealers and collectors alike began searching through rolls of dimes, hoping to find one of these rare error coins. As the rarity of the 1990 double die dime became more widely known, its value began to rise steadily. What was once considered an ordinary coin was now in high demand, and prices began to climb, sometimes reaching thousands of dollars for a single error coin. The story of the 1990 double die dime illustrates a fascinating aspect of coin collecting: the element of chance. While many coins are produced without any noticeable flaws, others carry the potential for significant value, often due to a small mistake or misalignment during the minting process. For those fortunate enough to own one of the 1990 double die dimes, their discovery became a stroke of luck that would lead to an incredible financial reward. As with all rare coins, the value of the 1990 double die dime continued to increase over time. Auctions began to feature these rare dimes, with collectors and investors vying for the opportunity to own one of these error coins. The demand for these dimes continued to grow, and as the number of available coins remained limited, their value surged. Today, a 1990 double die dime can be worth a staggering $118,000. Yes, you heard that right. A dime that was originally valued at just 10 cents is now worth $118,000, a remarkable increase in value that reflects the rarity and desirability of this coin among collectors. The rise in value of the 1990 double die dime is a testament to the fascinating world of coin collecting, where seemingly ordinary pieces of currency can become priceless treasures due to their rarity and unique characteristics. But what exactly makes the 1990 double die dime worth such an incredible sum? It's a combination of factors: the rarity of the minting error, the historical context of the coin, and the growing demand for rare and unique coins among collectors. As with most error coins, the more time passes, the fewer examples of these rare coins remain in circulation, making them even more valuable to collectors. The 1990 double die dime serves as a reminder of the sometimes hidden potential that exists in seemingly ordinary items. For those who took the time to search through their pocket change or inspect their coin collections, the 1990 double die dime was a valuable discovery, one that would reward them with a substantial financial gain. It's a story that resonates with many coin collectors who know that the next great find might be just around the corner, hidden in plain sight. If you happen to come across a 1990 dime, it's worth taking a closer look. Even though most of these coins may look like typical dimes, you might just be holding onto a rare gem. It's a fascinating part of the numismatic world, where small errors can turn into big rewards. For those fortunate enough to have found a 1990 double die dime, their discovery has led to an incredible financial windfall, one that has made them part of a select group of collectors who own one of the most valuable dimes in existence today. So, the next time you find a coin from 1990, remember the incredible story behind the 1990 double die dime. You never know, you might just be holding onto a piece of history that's worth far more than you ever imagined. With a current value of $118,000, the 1990 double die dime is a true testament to the excitement and intrigue of coin collecting. In 1982, millions of 1-cent coins, or pennies, were minted and circulated in the United States. On the surface, these pennies seemed like just another part of everyday life, spent for small purchases, tossed into piggy banks, or tucked away in drawers. But what many people didn't realize at the time was that some of these pennies would eventually become highly sought after by collectors and, in the case of a specific group of them, could be worth a fortune today. A coin worth just 1 cent in 1982 is now worth a remarkable $140,000. How did this seemingly insignificant penny become a numismatic treasure? Let's take a deep dive into the history, design, and incredible value of the 1982 US 1-cent penny, and discover how a tiny error created a coin worth more than anyone could have imagined. To understand the significance of the 1982 penny, we first need to consider its historical context. The 1980s was a transformative decade for the United States, marked by significant political, economic, and cultural changes. In 1982, President Ronald Reagan was in office, and the country was coming out of a period of high inflation and economic stagnation in the 1970s. Reagan's administration ushered in a new era of economic policy, which would have long-lasting effects on the U.S. economy. On the global stage, the 1980s were also a time of growing technological advancements. Personal computers, video game consoles, and mobile phones were starting to take off, laying the groundwork for the tech boom that would define the following decades. Culturally, the 1980s saw the rise of iconic figures in music, film, and fashion, with stars like Michael Jackson, Madonna, and The Breakfast Club defining the era. Yet, while the nation was evolving in numerous ways, one thing remained constant: the penny, a coin that had been around for more than a century and a half. The 1982 penny, like its predecessors, was made of copper and featured the familiar design of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, front, and the Union shield on the reverse, back. Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, had appeared on the penny since 1909, and his image had become synonymous with the coin. The reverse design, showing a simple shield with a banner reading E Pluribus Unum, represented the strength and unity of the country. In 1982, the U.S. Mint produced an unusually high number of pennies due to a high demand for low-denomination coins. However, the year was also notable for a major change in the composition of the penny. Prior to 1982, pennies were made of 95% copper, with only 5% zinc. However, due to the rising cost of copper, the mint decided to reduce the amount of copper in the penny, opting for a new composition of 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper. This change was made in an effort to reduce production costs, and the new pennies were lighter and less expensive to produce. This switch in metal composition was not without its consequences. The 1982 penny was issued in two different types, one made of the older copper composition and the other made with the new copper-plated zinc. This meant that the 1982 penny exists in two distinct forms, one with a higher copper content and one with a higher zinc content. Collectors quickly took notice of the distinction between the two, and this split in composition created a new opportunity for numismatists to hunt for the rarer version. While both types of 1982 pennies were produced in large quantities, it was a specific minting error that would turn one of these pennies into a numismatic prize. The error occurred when a number of the 1982 copper-plated zinc pennies were mistakenly struck with a die intended for the older copper composition. As a result, some of the 1982 pennies minted with the new zinc composition were struck in a way that created a highly unusual and distinctive coin. These rare 1982 copper-plated zinc pennies, which were struck with a copper die, had a thicker copper plating, giving them an appearance and weight that was more similar to the traditional copper pennies of years past. The error was small but noticeable, and it caught the attention of coin collectors who began searching for these rare coins. The difference in the weight and appearance of the coins made them stand out, and soon collectors realized that these pennies were highly collectible. As is often the case with rare coins, it wasn't long before word spread about the 1982 penny error. The demand for these mistruck coins began to increase, and they became a sought-after treasure among coin collectors. Although the error was not immediately recognized by most people, a few sharp-eyed collectors knew that this error would make the coin rare and valuable over time. Fast forward to the present day, and the once humble 1982 penny has undergone a stunning transformation in value. As time has passed, more collectors have become aware of the rarity of the 1982 copper-plated zinc penny with the die error. The increased demand and the limited number of these coins in existence have made them incredibly valuable. In fact, a single 1982 penny with this error can now fetch an astonishing $140,000 at auction, depending on its condition and provenance. So, how did a penny that was worth just 1 cent in 1982 become a coin worth $140,000? It's a combination of rarity, historical significance, and the fascination that collectors have with minting errors. As the number of available 1982 copper-plated zinc pennies with the error decreases over time, their value continues to rise. The scarcity of the coin and the unique story behind its production only add to its allure. What makes the 1982 penny so appealing to collectors is not just the mistake that occurred during its minting but also the broader context of its production. It represents a pivotal moment in U.S. coinage history, as the U.S. Mint made the shift from the traditional copper penny to the zinc penny, which has since become the standard for U.S. 1-cent coins. The 1982 penny, especially the ones with the minting error, represents a transitional period in American currency, a moment in time when the design, composition, and production of coins changed forever. In the world of numismatics, coins like the 1982 penny serve as fascinating examples of how small errors or changes in production can lead to a coin's rise in value. It's a reminder that, in the world of coin collecting, even the most seemingly ordinary coins can hold hidden potential. What might have seemed like an everyday, insignificant penny in 1982 is now a valuable treasure that has captivated the hearts and imaginations of collectors and investors alike. So, the next time you come across a 1982 penny in your pocket change, take a closer look. It could very well be one of the rare, error-struck pennies that is worth far more than its face value. After all, in the world of numismatics, you never know when the next big discovery might be hiding right under your nose. And as for the 1982 copper-plated zinc penny with the minting error, well, it has reached a remarkable value of $140,000 today. It's a perfect example of how a seemingly insignificant mistake can lead to something extraordinary. In 2008, the U.S. Mint produced millions of 1-cent coins, or pennies, to meet the ongoing demand for currency. On the surface, the 2008 penny appeared to be just another routine part of the vast and intricate currency system that fuels daily transactions across the country. The same familiar design was stamped onto each coin, the face of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, front, and the Union shield on the reverse, back. But what seemed like a standard penny would soon become a prized item in the world of coin collecting. This seemingly ordinary coin would eventually become the object of intense interest, with its value soaring to an impressive $115,000. How did a simple penny, worth only 1 cent at the time of its minting, come to be worth such a staggering amount? To fully appreciate the significance of the 2008 penny, it's important to explore the broader context of its creation and its role in the history of American coinage. The penny, or 1-cent coin, has been a fixture of U.S. currency since the earliest days of the nation, with its design evolving over the years to reflect the political, economic, and cultural changes that shaped the country. By the time 2008 rolled around, the design of the penny had been firmly established with the image of President Abraham Lincoln adorning the obverse, a tribute to the 16th president's leadership during one of the most challenging periods in American history, the Civil War. Lincoln had first appeared on the penny in 1909, and his image became one of the most iconic and enduring symbols of American currency. The reverse of the penny, which initially featured a simple wheat sheaf design, was replaced in 1959 with a depiction of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. This design change was a nod to Lincoln's legacy and his lasting impact on the nation. The penny remained largely unchanged for decades, becoming one of the most recognizable coins in the world. However, in 2008, a significant change occurred to mark the 200th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. To honor this milestone, the U.S. Mint introduced a series of special editions of the penny that featured new reverse designs. These designs commemorated key moments in Lincoln's life and presidency. The first of these special reverses was the birthplace design, which depicted a log cabin, the humble birthplace of Lincoln in Kentucky. The second design, released later in the year, showcased the formative years design, featuring an image of Lincoln reading a book by the light of a candle in a log cabin. The 2008 penny was more than just a regular cent coin. It marked the beginning of a series of coins that would help celebrate the life and legacy of one of America's most revered presidents. This special series of pennies featured multiple reverse designs, each one telling a different story of Lincoln's journey from his humble beginnings to becoming the leader who preserved the Union. But while these commemorative designs added a unique touch to the penny, it was a different, unexpected feature of the 2008 penny that would cause the coin to become a rarity among collectors and lead to its dramatic increase in value. The story of the 2008 penny's rise to fame begins with a simple yet critical error in the minting process. Like many other coins throughout history, the 2008 penny was struck using machinery designed to produce a vast number of identical coins. However, in a twist of fate, an error occurred in the production process, resulting in a small but significant flaw on some of the 2008 pennies. This error would go on to create a one-of-a-kind variant that would be discovered only after the coins had already begun circulating. In particular, a small group of 2008 pennies was struck with an incorrectly positioned die, resulting in a misalignment that caused the design to appear off-center. This error, while subtle, was noticeable to those with an eye for detail. In most cases, the design elements were shifted slightly, making the coin appear unusual and out of place when compared to the typical, well-aligned pennies. This misalignment made these particular 2008 pennies highly collectible and sparked the interest of coin collectors who sought to acquire these rare examples. The 2008 off-center error pennies were quickly recognized by collectors as a unique and valuable find. Errors in minting are among the most sought-after types of coins in the numismatic world, and even a small mistake can significantly increase a coin's value. For collectors, discovering a minting error on a coin is like finding a hidden treasure, a small mistake that transforms an otherwise ordinary piece of currency into an extraordinary and rare item. As word spread among the numismatic community about the existence of these rare 2008 off-center error pennies, the demand for them began to rise. Collectors and investors alike scrambled to acquire any example they could find. As with many other errors in coinage history, the scarcity of these misstruck pennies, combined with the growing interest in owning one, contributed to their increasing value. Over time, the value of these rare 2008 off-center pennies continued to climb, as fewer and fewer examples were available for sale. Collectors who managed to get their hands on one of these rare coins saw the value of their investment grow exponentially. In fact, some of the finest examples of these error pennies, especially those in pristine condition, have been sold at auction for astonishing amounts. Today, the value of a 2008 penny with the off-center error can easily reach $115,000 or more, depending on its condition and how prominently the error is displayed. How did a coin worth only 1 cent in 2008 become a treasure worth $115,000 today? It all boils down to the rarity and unique nature of the error. There are only a limited number of these misstruck pennies in existence, and as time passes, more of them disappear into private collections, further increasing their value. This is a perfect example of how a small, seemingly insignificant flaw in the production process can result in a coin that becomes a prized collector's item. The story of the 2008 penny is a testament to the world of coin collecting, where hidden gems can be found in the most unexpected places. Whether it's an off-center error, a double die, or any other minting flaw, the thrill of discovering a rare coin and the potential for that coin to increase in value over time is what keeps collectors searching, inspecting, and hunting for that next big find. For those lucky enough to have discovered a 2008 penny with the off-center error, the financial reward has been nothing short of extraordinary. A coin that once circulated as part of everyday life, used to buy a piece of candy or a newspaper, is now worth $115,000, an incredible leap from its original value. So, the next time you happen to spot a 2008 penny, it's worth taking a closer look. While most of them may look like regular, everyday coins, some of them may have a story to tell, a story of a rare minting error that transformed a common penny into an extraordinary piece of numismatic history. And for those who already own one of these error coins, the value continues to climb, with some of the most pristine examples fetching up to $115,000. This amazing increase in value is a true testament to the exciting world of coin collecting, where even the smallest details can make a huge difference in the worth of a coin. Whether you're a seasoned collector or a casual coin enthusiast, the 2008 penny serves as a perfect reminder that sometimes, hidden in plain sight, there lies a treasure waiting to be discovered.